Hey, what's going on? My name is Shane Hubbard. I've been in the fitness industry for 21 years. I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and I have a full-time job, and fitness has always been a big part of my life. And I want to help other dads figure out how to manage fitness within their life as a father and as a husband, working a 9-to-5 job and doing all the other things that are required to be a good dad. So today we're going to go over 10 philosophies, tenets, whatever you want to call them, that are going to help you build your father figure. As you have probably heard me say before, it's time to ditch the dad bod and build a father figure. So let's go ahead and do that using these 10 tenets or these 10 philosophies for making that happen. So the first tenet is simple wins, sexy quits. You've probably seen lots of different Instagram workouts. Maybe you've even done a 4-week program with some sort of gym or some sort of challenge. And these things can be great and they can be cool and they're fun, but they're not long lasting. And they don't teach you the basic principles of not only how to build a father figure, but keep it, because that's probably the hardest thing to do. So what you have to do is you have to think differently about the way that you train your body. You have to start thinking about training through a long period of time, 6 months to a year, versus training for 4 weeks and doing a fat loss challenge and then basically gaining all the weight back in the next 4 weeks. So we have to start focusing on foundational principles that we can stay consistent with over the course of a year and the rest of our life. We have to start thinking about how to change our habits versus just how to complete a challenge, lose some body fat, but then gain it all back during the winter, right? We have to change some of the things that we are doing within our lives while also managing everything that goes with being a dad. All right, philosophy number 2 is lift like a dad, not a dude. You have to start thinking about things the same way that you do as a father. You have to start thinking about the future. You have to start planning about what it is in your life that you want your family to do for the rest of your life. Whether it's a financial thing, or if it's where you want to live, or the house you want to move into, whatever it might be, as a dad, you have a lot of future planning to do. You have to think about the exact same thing for your own body. And if there's one thing that you can prioritize when it comes to improving your body, it is weight training. Listen, I know there are lots of dads out there that love cardio, that love to run. Maybe you love to swim. Maybe you love to cycle. Nothing wrong with that. In fact, more power to you for even liking those things, because enjoying cardio, at least for me, has always been difficult. So I envy you in actually enjoying it. But if you really want to optimize your body for the rest of your life, weightlifting, resistance training needs to be a staple. It needs to be a foundation. Doesn't mean you can't do cardio. Doesn't mean you can't do your cycling or your running or your swimming or whatever you want to do. It just means that weightlifting is equally, if not more important, in so many more ways than just purely cardio. So if you're not already implementing some sort of weightlifting program into your routine, you need to start now and you need to be able to build it for the rest of your life. All right, philosophy number 3 is protein, veggies, then beer. This is my fun way of saying you need to prioritize your protein first, your veggies second, and your carbs/your fats third. So when it comes to building your meals, you need to build a meal like somebody who gives a shit about their body. So you start with protein, then you obviously put in vegetables, because vegetables for the dawn of time have been the second or first most important thing to include into your diet consistently. And then yeah, you can still have a beer. There's nothing wrong with having a beer. There's nothing wrong with having carbs. There's nothing wrong with having some cheese, some fats. There's nothing wrong with that stuff. But the portions are the most important thing to get right. So protein should be about 1/4 of your plate. If we're looking at a traditional circular plate, 1/4 of your plate should be covered in protein. 1/2 of your plate should be covered in some sort of vegetable. I honestly do not care what vegetable it is. If you like broccoli, do that. If you like green beans, do that. If you like eggplant or squash, do that. It doesn't matter what kind of vegetable it is, it just needs to be a vegetable. Start there first. And then the other 1/4 of your plate can be carbohydrates. We're talking things like starch carbohydrates, rice, potatoes, pastas, breads, those sorts of things. I don't think there's anything wrong with incorporating processed carbohydrates into your diet. In fact, the more flexible your diet is, the more sustainable it's going to be. So I think about 80% of your nutrition should be from whole foods, and we'll get to that in a later philosophy. And 20% should be fun. It should be the beer. It should be the cake at the birthday party that you're going to for your 3-year-old. It should be a night out with your friends. It should be a part of your life. Going 100% clean diet is probably the most unsustainable thing you can do because it's not flexible with your lifestyle. If you're constantly having to bring a Tupperware to a birthday party or to an event or some sort of night out with your friends, you're not gonna enjoy that, and it's gonna suck. So how sustainable is something that's gonna suck, right? So we have to be smarter about how we incorporate things and how we portion our meals. All right, philosophy number 4 is get out of your head, man. You gotta stop it with the all or nothing thinking. And that's coming from somebody who has a problem with that. As I've talked about in another video, or maybe a future video, depending on when this one comes out, I have a difficult time with all or nothing thinking. And one of the things that I've started doing is cutting up my routine into smaller and smaller pieces and looking at all of the solutions I have to all of the problems that I run into. So if you go and you have this ideal plan for your workout or this ideal plan for your nutrition and it doesn't happen, what's your plan B? What's your plan C? What's your plan D? A lot of us will either do plan A or we won't do anything at all. And that is no way to build a sustainable, healthy father figure. It's just not. So we have to think about all the little things that we can do to still make what we need to do happen, right? You can't go to the gym for a workout? Get some home gym equipment. Do some body weight exercises. There's always something you can do. And the more you open your mind and your philosophy to being able to do something rather than nothing, even if it's like 10 to 15 minutes, that is going to literally change your life over the long haul. Yes, a 15-minute workout might not change your body from today to tomorrow, but if you implement that strategy over months and years and decades, you're gonna have a much different life than you've ever had if you just didn't decide to do anything about the situation and kept with the all or nothing thinking. All right, number 5 is be the dirtiest dad. What do I mean by that? Well, just like your bedroom life, you need to be a little dirty, right? You can't be clean all the time or else it's not any fun. The same goes with your nutrition. Unless you're a professional bodybuilder or you want to be one, and if you are, you probably shouldn't be watching this channel, you don't need to do that. You need to actually learn how to incorporate social eating into your lifestyle because it's already gonna happen, and being able to learn how to navigate those times in your life is so much more powerful than trying to run from them. Yes, 80% of your nutrition should be clean. It should be whole food nutrition that you can manage from a calorie standpoint, that keeps you full, that keeps you energized, and helps you sleep at night. Those are all priorities. And the more you try to prioritize that, the more room you have for fun. So 80% of your diet should be clean, whole food nutrition, and 20% should be dirty. So basically like the opposite of your sex life, right? Or are we just talking about mine? All right, anyway, let's move on. All right, number 6 is steps are more important than sweat. So this one is just to emphasize the fact that getting your steps 8 to 12,000 steps per day using a pedometer or step watch like I have right here that I got for 30 bucks on Amazon is more important than trying to do a all-out cardio session at the gym. The reason why I say this is because I've recently started going back to a commercial gym and I see so many guys on the treadmill for at least an hour. And I get it. We all think that there's this magic pill with doing cardio, that it's gonna burn more fat and we're gonna lose more weight and all that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, that's really not that true. Yes, cardio burns calories, but there's way more benefit in lifting weights and incorporating how active you are throughout the day, aka your step count, than there is dedicated single steady state cardio. So what I think that every dad should do is prioritize a solid weightlifting routine and focus on how many steps they get per day. And yes, cardio can be part of that, whether it's swimming or cycling or running or whatever. Cardio can be a part of that, but it should be a fractional part. It shouldn't be a foundational part. Go outside or pace around the office during your calls. It's one of the easiest hacks for getting more steps. A lot of times if I have a business call and it's not something where I need to like have notes in front of me or it's not a meeting in front of, in person, it's just over the phone, I will go for a walk while I'm talking to a client or while I'm talking to an advertiser because I work in marketing. It doesn't matter. I will go outside and sometimes I'll be on the phone for 20, 30 minutes. That's 2,000 to 3,000 steps easily. Now, I also live in a desert where it gets to be like 110 degrees, so things are not always ideal, but you could walk around the office. You could find many other ways to get more steps. So prioritize steps, not just doing an hour of cardio at the gym or at home. All right, philosophy number 7 is a tough one, and I can't say that I'm an expert at this at all, but it is good to keep in mind. Sleep is not optional. You need to get the best sleep that you possibly can. If you're a newborn dad, you're probably looking at me like, bro, I'm trying, it's just not happening. And I feel you, I've been there. If you're a toddler dad, it's probably a little bit easier, but maybe not that easy. Just for example, my daughter woke up at 2 a.m. last night. She's having a difficult time sleeping in her own room because it's dark and we've put night lights and all these different things, but she's still transitioning into being able to sleep on her own. So you're probably gonna wake up at 2 a.m., 3 a.m. Listen, that's dad life. Nothing you can do about it, but you still need to try to prioritize it the best you can. Plan ahead for things like this. Go to bed as early as you can. Go to bed between 8:30, 9:30, maybe 10. The latest, the cutoff that I try to set for myself is 10 p.m. If I can go to bed before 10 p.m., that gives me 2 hours before midnight. That gives me another 4 to 5 hours before I got to get up and start doing things for the rest of the day. So, that's a 6 to 7 hour window. That's not bad. At least you're getting that much sleep. It's better than 4 or 5 hours of sleep, which is not going to be ideal for not only being able to function in your daily life, but certainly not going to be able to support your fitness goals. So while I know trying to get enough sleep as a dad can be very difficult, don't let it slip. Do your best to optimize and to get as much sleep as you possibly can within the confines of being a dad. All right, philosophy number 8 is probably my favorite one because it's one of the most important things that I've learned in my 21 years in fitness, and that is your abs don't care it's the weekend. So don't ruin your 5 days of hard work with 2 days of just bottomless tortilla chips and salsa at your favorite Mexican food restaurant. Don't throw away the hard work you put Monday through Friday on Saturday and Sunday. Now, does this mean you have to be completely strict and over the top on Saturday and Sunday on the weekends? No, it doesn't. But it still means you need to be mindful of what you're doing. It still means that there's some foundational habits and principles that you can apply on the weekend. I've done a totally different video on this, on some of the things on how to stay in a calorie deficit, even on the weekend. You can check it out up here. I'll put it up somewhere up here. You can check it out after this video. But I'll go over it briefly here just as a summary. So one of the most important things that I started implementing on the weekends is intermittent fasting. If your family is not a big breakfast family, if you guys don't like to have breakfast or maybe you just don't eat breakfast on the weekends, this is even easier. If you're a breakfast family, mine is a big breakfast family, we don't always do this, and so that's okay, don't worry about it. But you still need to be able to manage your calories. If you can at least manage your calories on the weekend, maybe you're not getting ideal protein macros or carb macros or fat macros, that's not a big deal. What you need to prioritize is the overconsumption of calories. And I'm not talking like 100 to 200 calories more than you probably need. I'm talking like 5, 6, 1,000 calories more than you actually need on the weekend. Because that's really, after looking at many food logs and many calorie trackers of my clients and myself, just being observational, that's a lot of times where the numbers are. You add 500 to 1,000 calories extra on the weekend, 1,000 to 2,000 calories extra. That's basically wiping out your entire calorie deficit in 2 days. And that's one of the reasons why so many dads struggle to stay lean after they've been able to become lean. So I'm not saying you have to be super strict, crazy on the weekends where you're telling people, no, I can't have, one slice of cake, but you have to be better. You have to be more observational. You have to be better at managing your calories, and you have to be more mindful. You don't have to sit there and try to connect with your food on a spiritual level, but you do have to be able to understand, well, listen, this is a lot of carbohydrates. Maybe if I just cut this in half, or one of the strategies that I've started bringing to like parties or events or things where we're invited, and it's a good idea to bring something, I bring a fruit plate and I bring a veggie plate. Because at least at that point, at least I can eat those things, and there's always gonna be some sort of protein at a barbecue or some sort of event. So it's really easy for me to adapt to the situation in the social event without being the guy that's bringing Tupperware and his own food. The other thing that I often do is I bring protein drinks or protein shakes. Very minimal, don't take a lot of space. Most people don't even notice. I actually have quite a few other dads come up to me like, hey, I noticed that you haven't been gorging yourself on the tortilla chips like you usually do. Oh yeah, I'm trying to reduce my calories and trying to just be a little bit more mindful of what I eat. And it kind of sparks a conversation about being able to do those sorts of things for themselves. So a lot of these strategies that I try to implement don't ostracize you as a dad, as the guy who's eating the unique food in the corner. It's more just about trying to assimilate into what's going on without sacrificing all of the things that you're trying to work towards and build that father figure. All right, philosophy number 9 is play the long game. So this kind of goes along with the all or nothing thinking, but playing the long game is the best strategy for understanding how you're actually going to get this to stick, right? Because I could give you a 4-week, 8-week challenge where you burn a bunch of body fat, you get super lean, you get shredded, and I could just toss you to the wolves at that point. But that doesn't do you any good, and you've probably already done that multiple times in your life. So what do we do to make sure that we're actually sustaining what we build? Well, we have to think about life in phases. We have to think about the things that we do with our fitness, with our nutrition in phases. We have to start thinking about, well, what do I do after a fat loss phase, right? I've been in a calorie deficit for 90 days. What do I do now? How do I keep this body that I've spent so much time on? All right, imagine you're at work and you spend 6 months on a project, and after the project, your boss just goes, all right, well, great, thanks. And it's it. It's like, well, what about my annual review? Like, does that factor into that? No, it doesn't. We just needed that project done. It's like, well, I just did all that work for nothing? It's like, no, you made the company a bunch of money, but you didn't get the recognition that you wanted. Same goes for your body. If you work for 3 months straight, really dialed into your nutrition, and you're getting shredded, and you can see abs for the first time, and then you just throw that away in winter because Christmas and Thanksgiving, what kind of life is that? We need to learn how to maintain the success that we've built. And the way that you do that is you think about things much differently. You go from a fat loss phase into a maintenance phase, into maybe a bulk, or if you don't want to even go there, you just stay in maintenance. You could live in maintenance the rest of your life. Then you maybe go into another fat loss phase, and you have to start thinking about how to manage what it is that you build. That's all it is. And you have to think long term, right? You have to think what the next 6 months look like at the very least, right? For me, what I'm trying to do right now is I just transitioned out of a 68-day or 68-day fat loss phase. Now I'm in maintenance. I've been in maintenance for about 17 days now. I've been able to maintain my weight and my physique as I was when I was in a calorie deficit. And I feel great because I'm able to have more calories to work with. I'm not stressing out at social events. I'm having fun at summer barbecues and summer events and pool parties and kids, things that my kid is going to, without worrying about, oh man, I've got all of this food that I can't eat. No, I can eat it. I just have to be smarter about how I manage it. And when you start getting rid of that all or nothing thinking like we talked about earlier, and you start playing the long game, life becomes so much easier. It takes hard work, but in the moments, it's a lot easier. All right, number 10, our last philosophy, and arguably the most important one. Your kids are watching you. One of the most important lessons that I learned being a dad, and I only have a 3-year-old, so I've still got lots to learn, but one of the most important lessons that I've learned so far is that kids learn and act and behave based on example. So the way that you act, the way you talk, the way you behave, the things that you do, how you take care of yourself, they mimic that. You are an example of what the world is like and how to function in that world. So you have to start thinking about that for your kids. If you don't work out, if you don't take care of your body, if you don't eat right, what do you think your kids are going to do? It really is that simple. So if you can't do it for yourself, do it for your daughter, do it for your son. Because I know you sure as shit don't want them to grow up with an unhealthy lifestyle and unhealthy habits. And if you just let the world help them figure that out, that is the direction they're going to go in, because that is the direction that our world goes in. If you just let your kids eat whatever they want, do whatever they want, they're gonna have a really difficult life. So you have to be the example to them on how to navigate the world. And you have to teach them. They need to take charge. They need to take ownership of their own body, of their own health. Now, I'm not saying you have to teach your kids how to get a six-pack like some of these crazy fitness influencers that I've seen online. That's insanity. But you have to teach them how to take care of themselves. Just the same way that you teach them how to brush their teeth and take care of their teeth. You gotta take care of your body. You gotta feed it the right foods. You gotta have fun sometimes with food. You gotta have ice creams and cookies and all the fun things that you remember from your own childhood. But you also gotta eat your vegetables. And you also gotta eat your protein. And you gotta eat your good carbohydrates. And you need to take care of your body by working out. I don't recommend teaching your kids how to overhead press 300 pounds. But doing push-ups and sit-ups and being active, going to the park, going to the beach, going places where you can be active and recreational at the same time. If you can't do it for yourself, and trust me, I've been there. There's times where I don't even believe enough in myself to actually get up and go work out. I get it. Do it for them. Do it because you want their life to be better. Because they're watching how to live based on how you live. So it's time to buckle up. It's time to take ownership over your body. And it's time to ditch the dad bod and build a father figure. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it was helpful. And I hope that you take these, and if you can just implement maybe just 1 or 2 of them to start off with, I think that your life will get a lot better and your fitness will get a lot better and you'll just be a better dad because you're a better person and you take care of yourself. Before you go, let me know which one of these tenets was the most interesting to you, which one you liked the most. I'd be curious to see what everyone says in the comments. Thanks for watching this video. I will see you in a future video.